do you want to walk your daughter down the aisle someday?
Oh,
And I just broke down crying. And I remember I declared it, but I didn't stop right away.
Welcome to Fatherhood Voices, breaking the toxic cycle. Dive in as real dads bear all, the mess-ups, make-ups, and every heartfelt moment in between. It's raw, it's real, and it might just change the way you see family.
welcome to episode 70 of Fatherhood Voices. Wow, it's coming by so fast. I'm excited today because I got rid of my sidekick chick today. She's off to the side. That's Alyssa, my daughter. And I know I got to stop saying that, but it just rhymes. And I have someone very special today. One of my spiritual brothers that I started journey with about 5 years ago. And excited to dive into just what childhood looked like for him, what fatherhood is for him. And as we dive into not only his journey of childhood and fatherhood, but excited to share his story of transformation, transformation into fitness, and then also diving into career in music also, and leading big teams out in Colorado, and now has a coaching program, and man, tons of stuff. Excited. Jose Bonilla, welcome.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
No,
Excited.
I'm excited. Been wanting to do this for a while, and now you're out here in California, visiting from Denver, and
Yes.
had a chance to grab you and the family and get you guys over.
Yeah, for sure. Glad we got to fit it in.
So, what can you tell the audience about who Jose Bonilla is?
So my name is Jose Bonilla. I am from Denver, Colorado. Denver born and raised. I come from a family of five, so I have a little brother and a little sister. So I'm the oldest of three. And I mean, it's been it's been a whirlwind from obviously everything that we've gone through and everything that as far as that goes. But I mean, for me personally, I grew up playing sports, very business mindset, like even with this, right? So this is a whole different type of conversation that I'm used to, because I'm used to like coaching finances and business and doing those type of things. But I mean, outside of that, like you mentioned, so I love doing music, spending time with the family, and really just taking on some new business ventures lately. That's been kind of lighting me up.
Nice. Excited to talk about that. I'm going to just kind of start in chronological order. And what did childhood look like for you growing up in Denver, Colorado?
So I am the oldest of my family and the firstborn for my family here in the U.S. And so, growing up, English as a second language. So I grew up, Spanish. I didn't actually start getting into English classes until about fourth grade. So that's kind of like early childhood, what that looked like. But I came from a household that was very structured in a way where it was I honestly I had so much love for my mom. I had presents for my dad. And so early childhood, there was a lot of security, a lot of safety that I experienced, which was really, really great. And obviously that flows into what adulthood looks like and everything. And I think the biggest thing that I remember that was like that had like a huge impact in the way that I can kind of relate to now is obviously a lot of love that I received from my mom and the presents from my dad. But it was also like, I feel like there was like always this scarcity and this worry about money, which I know for a fact translated into kind of what I got into afterwards and kind of what I'm about now. So yeah. Outside of that, I don't know.
And that's beautiful because not beautiful that it happened, but I was just going to ask you, what's a core memory that you have of childhood, but just talking about the scarcity of money. How did that impact you and your siblings as you were going into young adulthood? Because I know for me, my parents struggled, financially at times, and I grew up with that scarcity mindset and had to adapt and overcome with that. So how did that core memory kind of shape you in your early years?
It's crazy because as soon as you said core memory, before you like explain the rest of it, like the first thing I'm thinking of is I actually have this memory of like, for some reason, I don't know why this pops up so much, but it's like, I remember being hungry and we were in my house. We're at home. My mom was making something to eat, but I was just like, I was really hungry. I remember like grabbing a jalapeno, not knowing exactly what it was. I just knew I was hungry. I go underneath the table to make sure I don't get in trouble, and I start eating it. I'm there crying while I'm eating it because it's so hot. And I remember my mom getting me out, and it was just like, I just remember that because it was this thing of like, I knew that I wasn't supposed to like be upset because I couldn't get what I wanted or, be hungry, and I couldn't like voice that out. And I think just growing up, I mean, I feel like it's a lot through our culture anyway, where it's like this, hey, we can't afford that. Hey, we can't, no, you can't buy toys. You can't do this. We can't, like, I don't ever remember going on vacation, like a true vacation. There was a couple years growing up where we were able to go to Mexico to go visit family and so forth. But that was like on a budget, on a bus, like never fly. I wasn't even on a plane ever since until I was about 21, 22 years old. And so I just remember growing up, it was very, very present in our family where it was, we don't have enough. And it was always this worry about not having enough money. We can't go do things, and we would have to go to, I remember going to the local church to be able to get clothes, to get the toys. I remember being on government assistance. And so I feel like a lot of that was, always this worry, are we going to have enough money? How are we going to pay bills? And growing up, I mean, as far as like with my siblings, I just, we're always on, free and reduced lunch at school. We didn't have all the stuff that all the other kids had, right? So I feel like everything revolved around, do we have enough money? So,
Wow.
yeah.
You just brought back a lot of memories.
Yeah.
A lot of memories.
Yeah.
As and we'll stay on this topic for a little bit because it's something a lot of families are going through right now. Things are tight. It's 2025. These tariffs, the recession, whatever you want to call it, people are struggling. And what could you tell a father, if you could look back to you as a child, what advice would you give to a father to reassure their children that things are going to be okay?
So say that again in the, like, are you saying
Absolutely.
like me?
Like
Okay.
you now, like knowing as a child that the struggles that you went through, like always worried about, as a child, there's not enough money and
Okay. So
and you feeling like said, I know for me, like I would always get made fun of because we didn't have enough for expensive shoes. So it was always like,
100%. That was,
Payless,
100%. Yes.
Good.
Yeah.
So it getting made fun of because I didn't have the BKs or the Reeboks and stuff. But think back to your childhood. What would you tell a father right now in today, 2025, to reassure the kids? Because the kids see it. As much as you try to shelter it, no, we don't have enough. Sometimes it just slips out from parents. No, So what advice would you give a father to?
I think we have to be very careful about what the messaging behind what we're telling our kids at any given time. And we could talk about, it's mindset, or it's this, or, or protecting them from this and that. And I think at the end of the day, we have a responsibility on what we are programming our kids' brains with, because we know that, from being a newborn all the way till 2 years old, you have a certain brain state. From 2 to 7 years old, from 7 to 9, right? And so we know all of these parameters where it's like, this is where you build up your personality for adulthood. And if we keep embedding nervousness and worry and we don't have enough, that is the little voice in their head that I feel like they're going to listen to when they get older. That is what they refer back to. And so for me, I would say just be very careful with how you choose your words, and honestly, even the energy that you're putting out there, because they feel that from us. And I know, especially for my oldest, that there was the same energy that I got from my dad that she had to grow up with. And Renee and I, my wife and I, were we grew up very similarly when it comes to the money aspect of things. And so it was this thing that I know that her early years, she felt that energy from us, right? It was always scarcity. It was always not enough and so forth. And so, learning from that and understanding that now we have to go through a process of rewiring and reprogramming the thoughts because, look, even as you said, 2025, there's a lot of people struggling. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of confusion in the world and so forth. And I truly believe that, not believe, I know, and I see the proof that there's also a lot of people thriving. And so what's the difference between the person that is in that mindset or whatever? Like, I know that for a lot of people, the tangible things it matters so much, but at some point we have to be real with ourselves and understand that a lot of what we go through is the feeling and energy that we are putting out there. So I feel like the best advice I can give is just be very careful on the energy and intention that you're putting out there for your kids.
I love that, and I love when you said the programming.
Yeah.
Because we are programming our children. So if we have that scarcity mindset, they're going to feel it, not just from vocalizing it, but
not just from the words,
energy
right?
of
It's the energy behind it.
the nervousness, the chaos,
Yeah.
some of the arguing, the fighting, the yelling that goes on in the house over
Yeah.
finances.
Yeah.
Which is the reason that most people get divorced.
Yeah.
It's actually
It's the number one reason, right?
finances
Yeah.
and then infidelity,
Yep.
believe it or not.
Yeah.
Wow. What about relationship with dad? What did that look like?
Relationship with dad. So I grew up when I would be asked about this, and again, I didn't really start a lot of like the internal focused work that you and I have kind of been together with. I didn't really start that until about like 5 or 6 years ago. And so before that, you would ask me I had a perfect childhood. And I think that programming had a lot to do with why I never felt like there was any trauma, there was anything to like work on and so forth, in that sense. Well, once you start digging deep, it's not about like, making it negative and so forth. It's about like understanding why I am the way I am.
Mm.
And so our relationship when I was growing up was very much dad was the provider. Dad went to work every single day. He was present as far as in the household. The things I remember as far as our relationship was more so a big energetic disconnect. I don't feel like he wasn't very approachable. He wasn't very easy to talk to. I could never go up to him and talk about like how I felt or feelings or this, that, and the other. That wasn't a thing. And so it was more so like the only way that I could get my dad's attention was through sports, through high achieving, right? So this is what kind of made me like, oh, dad, look at me. I'm doing so good. That was the only way that I would get his attention. And so it built this thing in me where it's like, be the good little boy. Be the good little boy that would make your dad proud type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And those are the most prevalent things. I mean, and back then, like, by no means was my dad ever like, alcoholic or anything like that. But what I do remember is like, that was normal, right? He'd have friends over drinking. My dad would play pool a lot. So, at the pool hall a lot. I have like these vague memories of like literally my mom like waking us up in the middle of the night because she can't get a hold of my dad. Where is he? Like, those type of things. Driving down to the pool hall, it's like there he is with all his friends, drinking, smoking, doing the thing or whatever. And it's like those were few and far between, but yet those are the things that stick out, right? And so I knew that there was like this personality with my dad where it was just like I couldn't really connect with him until I got older.
What, now, you're older, you've gone through the transformation of healing and so forth. Looking back now, as you as a little child, is there anything you could have done to be more approachable with your dad? Like, what could you have done to break through? Because there's you're describing a lot of dads right now in this day and age. Is there something that you could have done, a best practice, a strategy to kind of soften up that, hard dad that doesn't show a lot of emotion, that isn't very approachable.
Mm.
What could you?
You know, I think it's even more of an issue now. So this is a great question because like the first thing is like, well, he wasn't, and then the blame. And I think for me, I think some of the like little things that I feel like are affecting, I think it's even more of an issue now, is the distraction with the outside world. With get off your video games, get off the TV, actually go spend time when you're at the dinner table. Be present, be there, actually have a conversation. And I think that goes hand in hand with like also parents allowing the kids to actually have a voice at the table, right? Instead of shut up, eat your food, right? And then the other way around where like, hey, be interested in what the conversations that your parents are having. So I don't know. There's a lot of little things. It was funny. This is crazy because like I said, I didn't prep for any of this stuff, but like some of the memories that are coming up, it's like I say that and then, damn, I'm literally thinking like we're literally like my dad actually teaching me so much. It's just and this is suppressed stuff that I don't even remember anymore. Like literally taking out like money, physical dollar bills, and teaching me how to like organize them and making sure that they're crisp, unfolding them, uncrinkling them, and sitting down with me and showing me how to do that. Teaching me how to build a fence. We built the entire fence of our backyard when we were living in our old house. My parents used to always have a garden, teaching us how to like plant the seeds and do all this stuff. See, this is things that I like,
Wow.
you know. So there's a lot that I did do with my dad. Now that I'm thinking about it, but it's just like the story that sometimes you tell yourself, wow.
You know, it's funny because you know, my relationship with my dad has been very rocky, and we've started the process of healing over the last couple of years. But I don't feel he was present growing up, and he chose his friends and partying and alcohol and so forth. But as I've started to unravel, so I came back very angry, you know, from doing ayahuasca and ceremony and all the reasons why he didn't show up. But then as I started going through my journey of healing, I started remembering, oh, what about the trips we would take?
Yeah.
What about going in the RV? So it's like, you know, so here for the first 2 years, I was shitting on him. I mean,
like I
but
did
just
all
like-
this for
like,
us.
just-
Yeah.
But then it wasn't just all bad. There were good times. But you're right. We repress that stuff. So it's beautiful that that's kind of unraveling here because we create this story in our mind of what our relationship was like with our parents, what it was like growing up. But then sometimes it's a song, it's a question, it's a core memory that pops up. It's like, wait a minute. I did this with my dad. He taught me this.
Yeah.
And then it just kind of starts to balance things out a little bit, you know?
Yeah. No, I love that. And I feel like it's funny because I feel like sometimes we say something or we believe something and we make it true. And so it just is what it is afterwards. And then you realize like, oh, I just said that one time and we just all of a sudden I made it true. Like that's the real story when it really isn't.
You know, based off your experience with and you grew up with your mom and dad, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So what's one thing you're taking into fatherhood now in the present with your children? And how old are your children?
So 13 and 11.
13.
Yeah.
So what's one best practice that you're taking in to fatherhood for your children that maybe didn't happen for you as a child?
One of the things that I've implemented in our family dynamic, and especially after doing a lot of the work, is I am very, very intentional about allowing the space and being able to actually spend quality time with my kids. And I know that sounds very generic, but I'm talking about like, for example, right now, my son and I like have all the same interests. Like he loves science. So we're reading science books together. We're going skateboarding together. I'm coaching him in baseball. I love baseball. So he's taking an entry on that. He just recorded his second song, his second hip hop song. And so now we're doing music together. And so like you can imagine when we're building that dynamic, like we're spending a lot of time together because it takes time to actually get good at all this stuff. And so we're doing a lot of that together. Going on daddy-daughter dates, making sure we're spending time with the family. Just took the kids to Disneyland, right? So we were just, now we're here, they were in California. And so I think the biggest shift has been, it's not that my dad didn't do a lot of that stuff, but we never made it like a priority to like vacation, to, spend time together. Like I remember like him and I connected over sports a lot, and I played baseball, and yet he never made it a priority to actually go to my games. And when he would, I could have a great game, but it's that one strikeout I had. It's that, one, grounder that I didn't pick up or whatever the case is. That's the focus, right? And it was like, how could, it was always the negative. It wasn't, praising me for anything that I did well.
And a lot of fathers do that is,
Yeah.
I remember just doing that not too long ago with one of my adult children. Is she got a new job, and it's like, okay, well, let me show you some other things out there so you can scale up. And it was like a complete meltdown. It's like, nothing's ever good enough. And it wasn't that. I was just like always looking at, okay, you have your foundation. Now what's the next level?
Yeah.
So yeah, that, we make that mistake a lot. A lot of times we're trying to provide them the best coaching and guidance because we're looking out for them. But a lot of times they're not receiving it that way. So we have to be careful to just like.
Sometimes they just want to be heard, acknowledged, recognized.
Absolutely. Yeah. Wow. So let me ask you about oh, you know what? I do, when you were talking about being intentional and spending time, I want to share something that I do with my girls. Well, two of them. The third one's not ready to partake yet. But me and my oldest daughter, Alyssa, who's, sitting in the audience here, we've now been on 11 father-daughter dinner dates. We do it on Pearl Harbor Day. It started with when she was going to college or in high school. She had to go watch a musical or concert. We went to Claremont College to go watch it. And they said, oh, we should do this every year. So it became a tradition. I will tell you that this father-daughter date that we've done every year has been beautiful because it's that one time of the year that we can just go and have raw conversation, maybe because I wasn't always the easiest person to get along with. But that was that one time of the year that we could have she could go and share whatever she needed to, her truth. And then we'd leave it at the table. And then there wasn't going to be conversation afterwards. So it was that one almost like
safe space.
Safe space,
yeah.
Yes. And
I love that.
During when we didn't talk for 5 or 6 years, her mom made us go on the father-daughter date. And for the first 3 years, we only said like 2 or 3 words, but we went.
Wow.
And I honestly feel that kind of started to soften how we started to reconnect. But even on the years that we didn't talk, we still respected that father-daughter dinner date.
That's huge.
And as much of a struggle as it was, I'm glad we did it because we still had those memories. And although we didn't have the interaction that I wish we would have had, we lost quite a few years, but we did honor that tradition. And I think that's a big part of how we started to come back to healing. So
I love that.
something I really,
that's definitely something I'd love to
So make it a
implement.
celebration every year, one for your daughter, one for your son, and honor that date and never deviate away from it.
I love it.
Make that,
Love it.
You've had an awesome journey of transformation. And I don't know the insights behind it other than what I've seen at some of the different events where they've kind of shared your transformation of weight loss. And I'm curious to find out a little bit of how that happened and what kind of brought the change.
I mean, I don't really know how like deep this goes, right? Because it really was just more of a like, I always considered myself an athlete in school. I think when I graduated, I was like close to like 180 pounds. I'm 5'9". And so I was always a little bit overweight and so forth. But I think what ended up happening was this. So my wife and I, once we got married, we had our first child when Anaí was born. It became this thing in this routine where it was just do whatever it takes to make as much money as you can because we got to pay bills. And so it was nonstop. And I mean, you and I both come from the real estate industry. There's always work to do. You can grind out and hustle as much as you can. And that's what my life became basically. And so I got to a point where I wasn't watching my health at all, which I never was really health conscious, to be honest. And It was all about work. And so like on the outside, it looked like we were doing really well because I was making, decent money. We're making, just under 6 figures, like, and working really hard. I was selling a bunch of homes and everything was good. But, you know, I, our, I believe our bodies are a reflection of what's going on internally. Right.
Mhm.
And at that point, I really thought there was, there's these episodes. I don't want to call it depression because I understand that that's an actual like thing that a lot of people deal with, but I felt like that. I felt like there was those waves, and I kind of stopped caring. And so all of a sudden, I remember just waking up one day, and I'm looking at myself in the mirror, and I go to the scale. I'm at 230 pounds, 228 pounds to be exact. And being 5'9", 228 pounds. And remember, I have this identity in the back of my head of like, I'm an athlete. and I could still go on the court, or I could still do this, that, and the other. And I think it was just a breaking point for me of like, not only that, it was also, what was it? I was 11 years or 12 years after graduating high school. So for me, it was just like, I've been telling myself every single year since high school that I'm going to get in shape and I'm going to get fit. I'm going to watch my nutrition. I've been telling myself for every single year. And I'm like, dang, it's been over 10 years. It's been over a decade and I haven't done anything about it, even though I keep telling myself that I'm going to. And I think that was like, if we want to boil it down to like one moment, one instance, that was the instance. It's literally me in the bathroom having those thoughts. And I dove deep into the journey, and I said, if I don't do it now, I'm never going to do it. And I ended up losing 75 pounds, which is crazy because I don't believe that it was just like, oh, just the weight loss and so forth. I really think that I just started thinking differently because it's funny, as I lost the weight, as I went into my fitness journey and the whole thing, my business started getting better. My relationship started getting better. The relationship with my wife and I started getting better. The relationship with my kids and I was still different until a little bit later on. But
Did the sex get better?
yes, absolutely, 100%.
Okay, see?
Yeah. So
So if you're overweight, lose some fucking weight, and it's gonna go again.
So it was definitely, like I said, I don't know if there was like so much underlying other than the fact that I just got sick and tired of being sick and tired. Mind you, like it was an overall health thing. I was smoking a pack of cigarettes a day.
Oh, wow.
I was drinking 3-4 times a week. The days that I would drink, I was smoking 2 packs a day
I can't see you as
as a smoker. So it's funny. The last cigarette I had was actually back in 2016, City of Industry Relentless 2.
Yeah.
I smoked it right before the event started in the parking lot. I went into the event. I never touched a cigarette again.
Really?
Yeah.
Just cold turkey.
Yeah, just stopped. Yeah.
What went through your mind that you were done?
You know what it was? It was a trigger because at that point, it was the first time I had been in a personal development coaching program. I had been in other real estate coaching programs, but it was the first time that I was in an actual like personal development coaching program. And because I decided that I wanted to start taking my health more seriously, that was the first step. And I remember one of my lenders coming up to me. We were drinking. She comes up to me. She sees me smoking. And she goes, "Do you want to walk your daughter down the aisle someday?"
Oh.
And I just broke down crying. And I remember I declared it, but I didn't stop right away. But because I declared it, my kids were starting to hold me accountable to it. Dad, you said. And still to this day, if you ask them, they're in the other room right now. If you ask them, they would tell you that they're the ones who got me to quit smoking.
Wow.
Because of how many times they would remind me over and over. And I remember going to that event, and I was like, personal development event. I just been in coaching for a few months, this, that, and the other. And I was just like, you know what? This is when I'm going to do it.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
You know, it's beautiful because it just shows how powerful the mindset can be. You know, when you made a decision that, boom, you were going to get in shape now, you know, you've been talking about it and, you know, since high school, 10 years later. And then we decided to kick the habit with cigarettes, you know, that's pretty powerful.
I think it goes to show that it's a decision.
It's a decision.
It's a decision. I think sometimes we say like, well, it doesn't take any time because it happens the moment you decide.
Oh, wow.
then it's just reality catching up to the decision that you already made.
Oh,
Yeah.
man, grab that clip. Now, you've dabbled into now going into the creative side, and I will dabble into the real estate career, but I'm more interested in your rap career. So tell me about that. The creativity and just, tell me about that.
Yeah, so that is actually something that I started when I was in high school. And so hip hop has always been a big part of my life growing up. It was part of the culture that I grew up in. And so I just remember even 16, 17 years old, I would write these raps and, all this other stuff. And I met some guys in high school that had a recording studio, and now they become like brothers to me, share the same tattoo together. And we have been doing music since my senior year of high school. Still to this day, we actually just had a show 2 weekends ago. And yeah, so it's been one of the best parts of my life when it comes to having an escape outside of your day to day. It is what really allows me. I'm very like analytical by nature. And it's the side of me that gets to kind of like still be analytical in the sense of like, I love the wordplay. I love like the rhyme schemes. I love like doing all that. But it gets me to disconnect from everything and just have fun with being able to express anything I want to say. And it allows me to like really, I don't know, dig into a different side of myself. So yeah, so it's been really cool. So we honestly, when we first started doing it, we started booking a lot of shows. So if there was any room for like, opening up for headliners and things like that, like I've opened up for Ice Cube, we opened up for Nipsey Hussle, French Montana. Let's see, no, I'm missing a bunch of Lil Flip. We've opened up for a bunch of like different artists. The Game. So it's been a really fun journey, because when you're in front of those, you have, tens of thousands of people in an auditorium, or and you're on stage. It's a really fun process. So it's been really cool.
That's pretty cool. And so it's called the Diamond Boys?
Yeah, Diamond Boys is
Okay.
the name of our group. Yeah.
And then is there any type of messages or like that you focus on, or is it just a mixture, just different music? Or is there like certain types of topics that you guys
kind of focus on? I would say, so I think we have a little bit of a unique style, but we keep it old school enough to be like kind of like the hip hop that I grew up listening to a certain degree. If you go back to like when we first started, it was a lot of like, I feel like rappers are like the best manifestors, because you're always affirming things and talking about things that you either wish you had, or like, what ideal life kind of looks like. And it's funny because I go back to some of those songs and I'm literally listening into my own lyrics, like remembering some of the stuff. And it's like, we're talking about things that like when I reminisce, like we're actually living those things out now.
Wow.
Which is really, really cool. Like I'll have to show you after this, like some of the lines that I'm talking about, but like, our music has evolved quite a bit from that to what I feel like we're more prone to talking about now. Like this project that we're working on right now, definitely just so much more conscious. And I don't mean like, your typical conscious rap where we're talking about, I'm talking about like, just like, what does life look like once bills are paid? What do you want your legacy to be? What does that look like? And I think it's a whole different avenue of music that I haven't heard, other than like, I have some of my like really, really like my top favorite artists that I like listening to now is like, J. Cole, Russ, Connor Price that my son and I really listen to, because Connor Price is absolutely amazing. But yeah, so it's definitely a different type of music for sure.
That is so cool. I don't have any musical abilities, but I did for quite a few years. I worked security for Death Row Records. So
really,
yeah, when I dabbled with LAPD back in the day, so Tupac and Dre and all them. So right up in the mix.
Oh man, that's
back in the day. So we can definitely share some stories off camera, because some stories are still not meant to be shared.
Yeah.
But yeah, so got to partake in a lot of that. back in the day when
That's
they
cool.
were,
That's a lot of
you know,
fun. They were
yeah,
big. They were big influences for me, right? Growing up, I mean, that's who I was listening to. So yeah,
yeah,
I love that.
cool. So, and then, just to kind of close out on this topic. So now you and your son are starting to create music.
Mm-hmm.
And, there's an agent in my office that his son that created music too.
Oh, really?
Joe?
Joe.
Valdemont. Jeez, he's going to kill me. I'll have to get you his name, but
Okay.
he's rapping also. Then he sent some songs with his son.
Oh, you got to
Yeah,
get me connected. Okay.
I'm gonna connect you with them. So, how's that? How did that start with your son? Like,
So you know what it is that, all right, this is gonna be a little bit like off script, a little bit
No,
off topic, but so when I got into the business world, when I got into real estate, it's like, what do you mean you're a real estate agent, business coach, this, that, and the other, and you do hip hop? It was like this thing of like, I was very like embarrassed about it. And it was like, people would like laugh about it type of thing, at least in my head. And I remember going to my first ayahuasca retreat in Costa Rica. And I had stopped doing music for a while. And this is part of the first ceremony that I did is I asked Spirit, I asked Source, like, what would life feel like if I never did music again? And I just started getting this big pain in my stomach. And I just remember waking up from the ceremony thinking like, if somebody doesn't want to work with me or do business with me or whatever because I do music or because I rap and because I do hip hop, then like I'm here for this incarnation, for this moment to do what I want to do and live life on my terms, the way I want to live it. And if that lights me up, I'm going to do that.
wow.
So if that's the case, then don't work with me. That's fine. Right? Which again, it's just the story that I told in my head. Because if anything, I remember like right after that, I released a music video. I was like, I'm gonna get to it. I started getting to work, released a music video. I got so much love
Wow.
from everyone in my life. They're like, what? We didn't know you did this, so forth and so on. And now it's become this really cool, like extra part of my life and like topic of conversation that I even have with even my clients and so forth. So, when that happened, I remember coming back and I was just much more involved in music. And so I started showing my son some of my old stuff. So we're riding around the car and all of a sudden my son knows like all the lyrics to all my songs. Like he's just like rapping them back to me. And so after that he goes, Dad, can I get on a song with you? Can I get on a song with you?
Wow.
And I just remember like thinking to myself like, no, like, whatever, like I'm like, you know what? Yeah, why not try it? I was like, he's just a little kid. What was this is my thinking, right? It's like my son, whatever. And he starts writing because I was like, you know what? Go ahead. Let's just do a song together. We'll record it. And he actually starts writing it out. And then I'm like helping him with some of the spacing. But he's talking about what he wants to talk to. He's setting up his own rhyme schemes. The kid goes on Google and he just starts like, what rhymes with this?
Wow.
And starts picking out and he just starts like building this thing like a puzzle, like in his head. Like, and I'm just like, and all I'm helping him out with is just like the spacing and like the making sure that there's enough syllables in the bars and so forth. And he writes his first song.
Wow.
And I'm like excited. I'm like, we got to record this thing. So the first song that we recorded, it was me, my friend Justin, who's in the group with us, and who is also his Nino. So it's like a perfect collaboration of like my son starts off the song, his first verse, then it's his Nino, his Nino starts off, and then my son, and then I end it off. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So his name is Joel Valdez.
Okay, Valdez. Okay.
Yes. So I'll have to show you it afterwards. So Joel, I knew you were. I just couldn't remember your name. And he was actually on the podcast, one of the early episodes. Like, on the first 10. You're gonna get a trip when we take a look at his Instagram.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Joel's got keys as his Instagram. So see, I'm making up for butchering your name. Okay, so now that's awesome. That's something you guys are doing together, and the science and the music and creativity. Here's a question: are you gonna get him into any instruments? Is he kind of leaning towards any instruments?
He hasn't lately. Okay. I think it's more so like his brain is so like we're very similar when it comes to like just like our interests are like the way we think, very analytical, very like, so he's been really into like we just got him a new drone for his birthday. So he's like, Dad, can I do some of your videos? Can I do video editing?
Wow.
And like, he's starting to make beats on his laptop. Like it's all like the creative side of things that I feel like I never had the time for, and he's falling in love with it, and I'm just giving him the space to do it. So if he decides to take something up, then 100% we'll encourage that. But
And what are you going to do to not make sure your daughter's not left out? What
So-
activities are you partaking? 'Cause
exactly.
that's
So that is something that's been actually top of mind for me in that. Personality is a lot different, and so one thing that I've committed to is making sure that we do have our daddy-daughter dates, right? Making sure that we do that. I'm gonna take you up on that idea. That's amazing. So, doing things like that. I'm at every one of her softball games. I don't miss a softball game. And just being like present at home more than I ever have been in my entire life, because Renee and I have talked about this so many times. There's something that happened. There's a flip of the switch that happened in our first plant medicine ceremony. I remember coming back, and the energy between her and I and her mother changed dramatically. And so it's still a work in progress. And so it's finding what it is that we are going to connect over. But at the very least, making sure that we are spending time together. So
I
more than
love
anything.
that.
Yeah.
You know, as I start to now switch into the your journey with plant medicine, and you got to tell you something about these father-daughter dates, okay? Father-daughter and father-son dates. Okay. They start off simple, but they go up in levels, okay? So I think our last one just recently was Club 33 at Disney. And before that, it was Mastros. And so you're going to level up. So you're going to start. So start small, start like freaking Kings or something. And then just, but every year they're going to get, so our foundation is like steakhouses. So
Yeah. Oh, see, my daughter, this is what I know. If once she starts dating, they better have a good, like, you can't just take my daughter to like a random restaurant. She's got pretty good taste for steakhouses and all that stuff. Our last one was a butterfly pavilion
oh,
where we went
okay.
to. So
Okay,
Yeah,
so just
gotta
get
keep
ready
leveling up.
Yes,
Yeah.
because these dinners are costing like quite a bit. But no, I love the memories and enjoy, like I said, and I love always the creativity I put into it. Like, okay, what am I gonna do next? Like, what's next
I
later?
think that's the fun part, right? Like the planning and like, yeah.
Yeah. So there's a helicopter coming in the near future. So yeah, there's a helicopter coming in the near future.
cool.
Ah, man, plant medicine, your journey. I know for me, my journey with plant medicine is what started my healing with my family. And especially with my daughters, because my daughters fucking hated me. Let's just be brutally honest. It was, my relationship was horrible with them. And with their mom, and just, everything was in chaos. So, it's beautiful because we started our journeys together pretty much. And then, when I went to Danny in the jungles and came back, and he started doing ceremonies. So we actually partaked. And I remember just some of the struggles you guys were going to. And there was a point where you guys were kind of really questioning like whether the family was going to stay intact. And it's been beautiful to see, to actually be there from the beginning and to watch the reconnection, the relearning, what it's like, because, being on these calls and it's being in ceremony, you strip the layers and you see the transparency and you have honest conversations. So I know how plant medicine has transformed my life, not only for me as a man, as a father, as a husband, as a grandfather. What has plant medicine done for you?
I think the biggest thing that it's done for me, my family and I, is it broke open full awareness of what life is really about and what we want to do while we're here. I feel like before plant medicine, I was running a program in my head of what society says that should be done, how we're supposed to operate, and so forth. And so that was a lot of the mess that I was telling you about earlier, working 7 days a week, not watching my health, and, thinking we're making good money, right? Like, and yet not having any communication with my wife, not being home at all, not really having a relationship with my kids. And so I remember like thinking that was just normal. That's just what it is. I just provide, I work my butt off. And then from there, smoking, drinking, doing the thing. And I remember our first ceremony that we went to, the intention behind it was, for me, this is how much I was in my ego, and like the arrogance behind it was just like, oh, I'm good. Like I'm so good. I'm just gonna go like try it out. Like it's all good. I'm really going just because my wife needs it, right? Because my wife comes from a, family of alcoholism and divorce, and and it was like, we're going for her. That was my ego talking. Whew. And I remember first ceremony, and it just cracked open everything. And I'm telling you, after that one, that's when we got back home, and I remember, I even have a video of this. I remember getting back home. I'm processing so much, but energetically, I've changed completely. Like the meaning of life for me was like, now, like, what am I doing all this for? Like, what's the purpose behind it? I'm just like in a rat race. And I just remember coming back home and like, remember my daughter coming and embracing me, my son too. And which was like not normal, to the sense of like, they never like really missed us when we traveled. But that time, like they just came up. Like I feel like they felt it. And we went to the backyard. I remember it was raining that day. And I'm taking a video outside because the kids start playing. And it's just like the rain, everything, when you come back, I'm just like, oh, nature. Like, and I'm just taking a video and just hear my daughter say like, I'm just so happy right now. I don't know why. I literally got that on camera. And I just remember coming back inside and just like crying with Renee. Because everything had just changed. And I couldn't explain it. There was no words to describe it. It's just I became a different person. And some of like the takeaways from that was just like, I just like stopped caring what like people thought of me. I know this sound like, oh, I don't care what people think. No, you don't understand. Deep down inside, this root thing that says like, I really care about like what people think of me. And like, and it just started fading away. And there's layers to this, right? There's layers, but some of those layers just started coming off, and I just started processing through it. And that was the beginning of it. And so what it's done for me is I've had a lot of awareness, and you and I both know this. None of that matters unless you like actually do something about it. So I remember like going to my next one, it's like, oh my gosh, I'm this way because of this. And oh man, I got to heal this, and I got to forgive this, and I got to do this. And I haven't been doing this the right way, and so forth. And all of a sudden, like all of this awareness, but like, so what? Remember when I said earlier, like, I really believe in this, is like, I felt like I was waiting for something to happen, but I just had to make the decision. And once I made the decision, the action followed. And all of a sudden, you're making the time. We're going on walks. We're discussing our relationship. And when we first went to the first one, it was like, are we together just because we've been together? Just because we're used to it? Just because we're familiar with each other? Because we have kids? That's why we're together? Is there any love here? We don't communicate. And after the first one, it was just like, it broke everything open. We had the deepest conversations. I remember our first ayahuasca experience, like, I'm pretty sure Renee and I spent at least 6 to 7 hours straight just talking and going through it with no judgment, no nothing, just spew it out. And it just brought us that much closer. And it's still a work in progress, and we're still going through the stuff or whatever, but it's the most beautiful space that we've ever been in right now.
Well, yeah. No, I can definitely relate, and it's transformational.
Yeah,
it's transformational, and it, I almost call it a truth serum, where it gets you to truly see what really matters, what's really important. A lot of times we get sidelined with money or things or possession, especially if you grow up with that scarcity mindset.
Mm-hmm.
And
you get distracted with all the stuff.
Yeah. And then realizing like your kids, love, companionship.
What's important?
And what's important. Absolutely. Oh, man. You're taking me back. Taking me back to those early days, because there are some pretty fucking wild ceremonies too that just went sideways. So they're all pretty, sometimes you got to go through the darkness to get to the light.
100%.
Yeah. As we start to wind down. So how long have you been doing real estate? So we're going to wind down away from that now, just kind of wrap it up with your real estate career, and then just the coaching business that you have now. So how long have you been doing real estate?
So I've been doing real estate for 15 years. Started at the bottom of the recession. So, when all the foreclosures and, HUD homes and all that stuff, that's when I got my license. Everybody was getting out. And so, so I've been in it for 15 years. It's been an amazing journey. So, I spent my first 9 years at a small boutique company. Was able to scale my business from, I think my first year I did like 2 deals and 3 deals and 4 deals when I was doing it part-time. My first full-time year I did 15 transactions and kept scaling from there. So it was really cool. Kept doubling my business for a little while. And then, the way we met through the coaching program with Danny and doing that, that really started to scale the business where I went to become part of a bigger brokerage and got into leadership there and all that good stuff. And, I remember 2020 was the first year we cracked over 100 transactions as a small team. So it was just me and 2 other agents. And so that was a really powerful year for us and setting up the infrastructure for
During the pandemic.
During the pandemic,
During the
right?
pandemic.
So some people had the worst years and some people had the best, career year. So it was really cool to be there, and we've been able to average that for a few years afterwards, and got into leadership afterwards, and started growing an organization. And so recently joined with Pack Realty, and been there now for 2 years. Planted the flag in Colorado for that. So that's been really cool because it's something that we can kind of take ownership over, because it was something that, like, being a part of something and being part of the staff versus like, no, I'm planting the flag, I'm doing this, right? Like it's all up to me and the control under the brokerage. So that has gone from, remember Juan and I started it there with 10, 11 agents. And now we're up to, 70 agents in the Denver metro area. And then under my organization, I'm at 155 agents right now. And so that's been really cool. And then last year, so we're coming up on this month marks a year since I started the coaching program. So that's been really good. I mean, it's level 1, level 2 coaching, right? So helping agents go from level 1 is focused on getting agents to 30 deals. Level 2 is helping agents go from 30 plus, developing SOPs, policies and procedures, sales manuals, organizing a team, building a team, hiring process, those type of things. And so it's been a really fun journey. Like, we're up to 70 clients right now in the coaching program, which is really fun. So get to help agents build their businesses. And I think honestly at this point, that's the funnest part that I get to do. So I get to help other agents build their businesses, and that's really where like my passion fulfillment is going towards right now. So it's really fun right now. Yeah.
And if they want, if there's agents out there that want information on the coaching program, how can they?
Yeah. So, I mean, elevateavenuecoaching.com, or just reach out to me on any of the platforms, Instagram, Facebook, Jose Bonilla. So yeah. And we've got some great support systems in there.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, as we wind down and bring this to a close, we've just followed a journey of just a lot of different areas and, the highs, the lows. Parting thoughts on fatherhood. And here's a question. What do you want your legacy to be with your kids?
I want to be an example of what's possible. And I mean that in a sense of, I'm working through this journey right now where I'm connecting with mentors around me that are actually about what they talk about, and living a lifestyle that I feel represents true freedom. So for my kids, I want them to see that it is possible to live your ideal life without having to sacrifice so much to get there. I think that truly is possible, and it's just getting in the right doors and the right environment, and that all happens through being the best version of yourself. And so, yeah, I think that's what I want them to see more than anything from being that example for them.
Yeah. Wow. And with those beautiful parting words, thank you for joining us for episode 70 of Fatherhood Voices with my brother, Jose Bonilla. Thank you.